Fulham, Luton, and Bournemouth, which was a 0-0 draw, are the 3 clean sheets right now that Chelsea have this season after 13 matches in the Premier League. Now, granted, they did get some clean sheets in League Cup, but we are not talking about that. We are strictly talking about the Premier League itself and the problem right now that Chelsea are facing. And it is mind-boggling how big of an issue this is. And no, we are not talking about the attacking third. That is its own thing. In today's video, we are looking directly at the defense, the back line that Pochettino keeps rotating, and the reason why I think Chelsea keep having issues and why we keep losing matches or giving up so many goals. If you look at the history of Chelsea, since Roman Abramovich has taken over, yes, I understand there's history before that, but when he came over, Chelsea, Stamford Bridge, became a fortress. We barely let any goals in. We still hold the record for 15 goals with Terry, with everyone else that was playing at this club, with Jose Mourinho as the manager. And yet, as you look at the club right now, we just completely give up goals all the time. We gave up 4 goals to Newcastle, 4 goals to Manchester City, gave up a goal to Tottenham. There are so many opportunities for Chelsea to win games, but also get 3 points. Yet it's our defensive backline that keeps lacking, and we definitely saw that in this Newcastle match. Thiago Silva had just a blunder of a game. It does happen, but still, the fact that he had one, Reece James, Battlefield so-so, but really Cucurella, 3 of the back 4, absolutely mind-boggling games, and therefore it really starts coming down to what we've been seeing with the manager. And I think a lot of people are not realizing that he has changed this back line so many different times. I'm not even sure what game you can go back to where we've had the exact same starting line. If you look at our Newcastle game we had a change with Battlefield, with Disasi, with Colwell. If you look prior to that game, we also had other players getting rotated around. And even moving forward now against Brighton, Reece James will not be starting because of his red card. And therefore, again, we are going to be rotating players again. This is a common thing we've been seeing time and time again. And I've talked about this in other videos, and maybe other people have noticed this as well. But the fact that we keep changing this back 4 with multiple people, yes, there's been injuries to Colwell or Chilwell. There's been injuries to Reece James, but he's fully fit. But we keep rotating these players, and we're not getting a solid core group of 4 players that can constantly play together and keep leveling up and doing everything they need to as a unit. As you see me moving up my hands here, we are watching the line move up and down. Right now, we are seeing this with our defense. There are multiple players that keep dropping back, creating all these gaps, which we again see players exploiting from the opposing team, and therefore again having great opportunities in front of goal. Yes, you can look at Sanchez and say he should be doing better, but what can you expect him to do when so many opportunities are presented right in front of him? He can only save so many shots, and therefore again, this is coming down to something that, again, Chelsea really need to look into. Now, whether we do stick with Thiago Silva, I'm not going to say we need to bench him, because if you look at him, he still is arguably our best defender, even at the ripe age of 39, which, again, is quite remarkable, and maybe also an issue that Chelsea really need to figure out, because if a 39-year-old is your best defender, you obviously have issues, but he does have the experience. He has the knowledge. Yes, he's not the quickest player, but typically, and I say typically, about 99% of the time, he can play the right ball. He can also be in the right place at the right time. That was not the case in the Newcastle match, but still, he is a great player. We do have other players, though. Colwell, Battlefield, Disasi, these 3 players as well, and even Fofana when he becomes fully fit, which again, it seems like he's getting closer and closer, which is still remarkable after having an ACL injury earlier this year. But all these players, we need to figure out, yes, we're going to stick with these 2 guys, and the other 2 guys, you're going to be on the bench. You're going to come in when we play a League Cup game. Because we do not have Champions League, we do not have Europa League, we have nothing else. So therefore, again, we have to zone in on the Premier League, and because of that, we have to stick with that core group of 4 people. Cucurella out on that left side, I'm totally fine with that, even if he does have a few matches where it does not look well, because again, sticking the guy in that position over and over and over, he's going to create this chemistry with the player next to him, which is going to create a player next to him and next to him. And therefore, again, this back line is going to play the way that it should. Nice and elevating or moving around the way it should be throughout this entire match. But also, they know how each and all those players are going to work, but also working with the players ahead of them in the midfield, because our midfield typically has been seeing the same 3. Now, we did not see this in the Newcastle match, and again, made total sense why Pochettino did not go with Caicedo. last player to come back from international duty, probably had some tired legs, did not want to do him and put him in the starting lineup because if he's not fully fit, he probably was going to get run rampant and therefore, again, was not a player that you want to take off or again, show that he had some issues because, as you know, in the media, when Chelsea players who we spend 100 million for or plus, when they do not well, they get eaten alive in the media. And again, this is probably the reason why Pochettino did not want to start him in that match. If it had been in different circumstances, I think he would have started, but again, that was not the case. But lo and behold, our back line is what we need to look at. So in my humble opinion, and maybe you guys have a different opinion, I would love to know what you guys think. Right now, the back four should be Cucurella on that left side, Colwell, left CB, Thiago Silva, I hate to say it, but that right CB, and then Reece James. Now, granted, again, he will not be able to play in this next match against Brighton, so therefore we're going to have to go with Malo Gusto, and therefore, again, that's going to have to change when Reece James comes back because you have to start Reece James. He's the captain. He's also probably one of the best right backs in the league. Now, again, the Newcastle game, I keep saying some of these things, but that game, if we scratch that game completely, most of these things are true what I'm saying. But if you only watch that game, Reece James obviously did not look like a world-class right back. Thiago Silva obviously did not look like a world-class defender. And the rest of Chelsea obviously did not look like a world-class team. And yes, they are not a world-class team right now. But this team, giving it time, can definitely keep getting better and better. We've seen them go head-to-head with Liverpool in the beginning of the season. We've seen them go head-to-head with Tottenham. Granted, they got 2 red cards. We've seen them go head-to-head with Arsenal. Should have won that game. Went head-to-head with Manchester City. That is 4 big clubs that we've gone well against. And you could argue that, yes, the Newcastle match was played at St. James. That is one of the most difficult stadiums to go to, as any opponent could say, because we've seen PSG go there and get absolutely thumped by Newcastle. And yes, they did have a bunch of injuries and everything along those lines, but still, this was a match that, again, Chelsea should have done so much better. And moving forward, this is a big talking point that Pochettino needs to take care of. And again, have a solid core back four, because if we can have that, they can continue to build this chemistry with the 4 of them, along with the goalkeeper Sanchez, and therefore, again, have a better rock-solid foundation in defense, and therefore, again, stop leaking goals. Because if we can stop leaking goals, yes, we still need to score goals, but the thing is, if you stop teams from really scoring goals, they still have to come off their shell, and eventually we can hit them on the counterattack, which we have the players capable of that. Raheem Sterling, Mudryk, Noni, Cole Palmer, Gallagher, Jackson, all these players can, again, then start scoring goals or have more opportunities or better opportunities, because if teams can't break us down, they're going to get frustrated and try different tactics, and when they do that, that's when they start leaking goals as well, and Chelsea need to take advantage of it. But first, it does come down to us having a better defense. That being said, I want to know what you guys think. What can Chelsea do better with their defense? Do you think we need to stick with the back 4 or keep rotating? If you think that works out, comment down below. I want to know why you think that works out. But that is all I have for you today in this video. If you did enjoy this video and this big rant, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe down below. I greatly appreciate that, and I will see you in our next video.